Greetings Leo, I'm Rosie O'Donnell. This is your horoscope for the new moon in Sagittarius. Let's play ball! Welcome back Leo, thank you. This is your reading. Lovely to have you here. This is the new moon in Sagittarius. This is happening on Thursday the 24th of November at 9:57 a.m. if you're in the southern hemisphere with me. So let's cut the mustard, split the difference. Let's all commune and manifest on the 23rd of November. That will be the great time for us to have active contribution and an engagement with this lunation. This is coming after eclipse season. This is coming after some potential enlightenment or shedding or constructive universal rerouting for you in relationship to your career, your legacy and your private life. So this is, hopefully the reverberations are sort of lessening as time goes on. If not, that's completely fine. You feel it for as long as you need to. Sagittarius new moon is our chance to activate and to ask for and to manifest and to commune with the moon and create magic. I like this one for you, Leo. This lunation, Sagittarius, rules your 5th house. And that's where we express ourselves. That's where we create. That's where we make magic. In the natural zodiac, the 5th house is ruled by yours truly, by yourself, by you, Leo. Leo energy informs the 5th house. Leo is here in a lot of ways to teach us all how to express ourselves. Leo has the biggest heart in the zodiac. They actually rule this part of ourselves. I think I've said this to you before, but I think it's worth saying again. And in the house structure, the house system, the 5th, the area of the 5th, is where Leo's skills come into best play. So in teaching the human collective, the human consciousness, the importance of individual expression and the lens, our perspective, how do we see our world, how do we see our life? What are we trying to speak on behalf of the plants and the trees and the nature and the rhythm of the earth? How are we expressing that through ourselves, from our perspective, our vantage point? And so you can see that for your Leo ascendant, I'm talking to my Leo's rising specifically here, but I think we take whatever is ringing home for you. But the 5th to be ruled by Sagittarius in your chart shows that sort of strident forward movement, that willingness, that will to expand the mind, to expand the consciousness, to grow it and to let it sort of filter out and peter through and create shapes all around us. So I love this moon for you, Leo. I like that it's got maybe separate to do with your most public self, how you're perceived, and your private life. This is to do with your individual expression and how that can manifest and what you kind of hope to draw in at this time. Now, there's some great support for this lunation. There's a really nice structure, a couple of different aspects, some trines, some support networks that are informing this lunation. So the new moon happens like one day after Sagittarius season begins. So it's like Sagittarius season enter, and then the next day, new moon in Sagittarius. So at 1 degree of Sag is the sun and the moon, and at 28 degrees of Pisces is Jupiter. Now this is interesting. I've heard it, which is funny, I've heard it called dissociative aspect. I just, look, if you know what if you've ever dissociated before or recently throughout recent history, then you might have a chuckle too. dissociative aspects are between signs that are of a sort of alternate element. So Sagittarius being a fire sign, Pisces being a water sign, to have planets in aspect to one another, normally if it was close to a 90-degree angle, would be pressure, it would be a sort of discordance. But because the luminaries are at 1 degree of Sagittarius and Jupiter is at 28 degrees, near the end of Pisces, it's actually closer to 180 degrees. So in that way, it's nearly, you know, it's a couple of degrees off an exact trine, an exact support. So how is the energy of Jupiter informing this lunation? Well, I'll tell you how. Jupiter rules both Pisces and Sagittarius. Jupiter has greatest potential and help. Jupiter is of best service in Pisces and in Sagittarius. So already there's support there. Jupiter is the planetary energy of expansion and optimism and good fortune. And it informs Sagittarius and their will to seek out and to venture forward. It informs Pisces by their access to love and understanding and optimism that things are going to be okay when you start to feel too much. And so for you, Leo, Pisces rules your 8th house, which is intense. It's the house of intense emotion. It's the house of grief and of rebirth. So there's the way that I read this as you have a really lovely 6th sense for recognizing pain points in other folks and for being really aware of how other people are feeling, Leo. And I'd put that to good use if I were you. There's something about a nice rhythm of feeling it as they feel it. Sometimes that might be quite overwhelming, granted, and you know, boundaries are very important in this life. But I see that there's something about when it comes to the taboo, when it comes to, you know, it's sort of the intensity of grief, the intensity of really connected sexual energy, the intensity of saying goodbye in order to bring in the new, helping folks deal with that rhythm, with that life cycle. Jupiter is there. Jupiter, the planet of expansion and optimism, and brightness, is there. And so to inform your creative pursuits, your individual self-expression, it's a very interesting configuration because you can express yourself, what you're expressing, what you're creating, might at this time have a bit to do with that cycle of grief, that process of grief. And so at this new moon in Sagittarius, it's the time to ask for the next frontier, the next stage. The sun and the moon are in also a trine. Sorry, no, excuse me. Let me backpedal. Venus and Mercury are also in Sagittarius. So there's Venus in Sagittarius. I know from experience, that's my natal placement. There is definitely a propulsion towards pleasure and towards passion and desire. There's definitely something quite gregarious about the Venusian energy in Sagittarius. In a conjunction with Mercury, that's messages, that's love letters, that's flagrant expressions of love and intensity. So perhaps, yeah, how is that manifesting in your sense of expression? Is that helpful? Could be, if you consider that at 9 degrees, 10 degrees of Sag, Venus, Mercury is in a helpful trine with Chiron over in Aries at 12 degrees. So that's a pretty close trine. That's comfort. Aries rules your ninth house of philosophy and spiritual expansion and publishing. And Chiron, as we know, holds the key to perhaps where some of our wounds might lay, wounds that are tricky to deal with on our own, that we do need support with. And that's not to say that your sense of philosophy or your sense of spirituality, even your access to moving around, is going to be in peril until 2026 when Chiron finally leaves Aries. But when there's an aspect specifically, it's a highlight of that wound. It's a highlight of that pain, that sort of numb ache in Aries that we've been experiencing. We're all experiencing it. It's just a matter of where in our chart. For you, it is in that sort of expansive philosophical side of life. So I wonder if you are in the process of publishing things. I wonder if you are in the act of learning about spiritual philosophy, or if you've come into sort of, you've fallen afoul perhaps with mentors from the past, or if there's something that you're wishing or willing to get off the ground. This trine says to me that there's benefit to put some of yourself in that philosophy. Maybe to not be, you're being invited, Leo, to be a bit vulnerable, to sort of to allow some of your own, to eke out some of your vulnerability in this space. The major secret in the tarot for Sagittarius is temperance. And this is an angel that is great at alchemizing the elements: fire, water, emotions, and passion. We know that too much fire in our emotional body can cause us to be quick to anger and to boil over. We know that too much water in our passions can sort of extinguish some of that confidence and that vitality if we're too insecure, or we're too careful. The angel of temperance knows how to mix both of these energies into a beautiful alchemical magical potion where we can experience both, and we can invite both to the table of our lives. We can say, yes, I'm an incredibly emotional person. My emotions move my body. I'm very in tune with my emotional body. I'm also incredibly passionate and incredibly driven and incredibly confident. So how do these two elements show up for best benefit? How can this perhaps maybe inform some of this mild wounding in your willingness to publish your own philosophies? And how can this how can we aid this lunation in order to manifest our creative expression? There's something here about softness that I really like, Leo. And that's not to say that you're not soft. As I said before, you lead from the heart, right? You've got the biggest heart in the whole zodiac. But there's definitely something here. I can feel that there's sort of like a throw the idea of hierarchy out the window, and also throw the idea of the needing to be righteous out of the window. Yeah. You don't have to win out over anyone's backward philosophy. If you feel that you're not aligned with someone's particular way of viewing things, or a particular system of rules, or a particular vantage point, a perspective on a certain philosophy, you don't have to prove them wrong in order for your own experience to be of valued importance. That's kind of tricky when when I said don't be righteous, I was like, no, be righteous, be a righteous babe. Shout it to the rafters. But it's complex. The 1 degree of Sagittarius is the 8 of Wands. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 direct messages. So hopefully this will come to you at this lunation as well, because I don't seem to be able to express it in the way that I wish to. I don't wish for you to silence yourself in any means, Leo. I think that everything that you've got to say and to put forward is of utmost importance. I think that maybe there's a philosophy, and maybe it's just my own that I'm projecting onto you, but as far as the idea of the connectivity of consciousness, if we are all connected and if the human species can be sewn together and patched together by our collective unconscious mind, our magical dreamland, then that's something to be recognized. Let's pull some tarot, Leo. I apologize. The Sun. Okay. Okay. The Eight of Pentacles. Okay. The Page of Wands and the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, all right. Your go-to and your essence, Leo, in a lot of ways, perhaps what it is that you're here for is individual identity, ego, the beauty of having one in order to interpret the natural world around us, in order for us to interpret the movements of the planets, the movements of the tarot. You're here to show us the way, to fight for our individuality in a lot of ways, to fight for our self-expression. And I can see you toiling away at that, trying to balance and juggle the correct way, or the righteous way. You know, yeah, I keep on saying the word righteous. I like the word righteous. You know, Righteous Babes was incredible, is an incredible philosophy. To be a righteous babe, you know, it's an art movement attached to that. There's a perspective of pride attached to that. That's great, beautiful, brilliant work to empower folks with your philosophy. Here we go. You need to empower. You will empower folks with your philosophy. And yeah, and the student of fire, the student of magic, the student of spirit, the student of pride, the ones that you are empowering are looking up to you. Not that you need to set some sort of perfect example, but one of the biggest things to really hang on to about the 9th house is that sort of equal flow. The student teaches the teacher teaches the student. Always, always, always. And this is where this pain point is here. This is where Chiron is, Leo. So for whatever purpose, and I'll leave that up to you, I'm not sure what, we'll hit publish and this will be your horoscope. But if there's been pain points in the past that have been attached to how you've been taught, or philosophies that you've reached out to that perhaps you were rejected from, or found used to be aligned with and now are in disalignment, I think that probably the evolution of the expression is up to all of us, and that's kind of what you're here. You're here to kind of help, you know, to aid and abet that concept. That the expression of the self is so important, and that's true for every single human dot of stardust. Everyone. Systems of oppression, systems of violence, systems of hierarchy that keep them there and us here, these are the things to be dismantled. You can feel it already. It's being dismantled all around us. That Uranus and Taurus energy is happening. When it comes to leading the charge, leading the march with your torch for expression of self, allow and look back perhaps and look at all those other torches behind you and bless each and every single one of them. None of us are getting it right. We're all doing our very best to engage. And so for that, there needs to be encouragement. Yeah. that's your reading, Leo. I hope it made sense. Who knows? But at least I got it out. Thank you very much for being here with me. Thank you for liking my videos and subscribing to my channel and sharing it with your friends. I really appreciate it very, very much. Head over to umaruby.com. That's where I do business. You can book a birth chart reading with me. I'm taking some time off in January, I think, but November and December, let's make it happen. Let's connect before the new year, and then we can start with freshness and move forward and see what 2023 has in store for us. I love you very much, Leo, and until I speak to you in 2 weeks at the full moon in Gemini, take care, activate, make magic, be a witch. I love you.